absolutely love our readings for this weekend. I always find it so providentially, God gives us exactly what we need to hear sometimes. Because our readings this morning are all about not judging one another, not condemning one another, not shaming one another. I felt these were so right for us to hear because I don't know about you, but I feel like we're living in a hyper-vigilant cancel culture. If you're not familiar with that term of the cancel culture, it means if you do anything, say anything, or even think anything that I dislike or disagree with, then I'm going to do everything in my power to publicly judge you, condemn you, and shame you into oblivion so that we all just get rid of you. You see this all over, not only the TV, but all over social media. I used to love going on Facebook, catch up with old friends, see pictures, what's going on in their families, what exciting things are happening in their lives. I don't know about you, but social media, I look at it now, it's all about this anger that people have. Judging one another, condemning one another, shaming one another. There's a real ugliness and vitriol to it all. This attitude of pushing other people down to lift ourselves up. It's a real ugliness to that. Of course, this sin is nothing new. We've seen it all times before. It's a sin that keeps whipping around in our culture. Those of you who are boomers in our parish, or older ones, you might remember famous Joe McCarthy in the McCarthy hearings. Let's get rid of all the communists in our society. And he held hearings and ruined people's careers, ruined people's lives with his blacklist and just with rumors and innuendos. Think back further still. Think of the Salem witch trials. This is a real thing. This actually happened in our country from 1692 to 1693. Over 200 people in Salem, Massachusetts were accused by their friends, their neighbors, their family members of being witches. And 20 people were found guilty of that and put to death. What's my point with all of this? Well, when we try being the judges of who are the weeds and who are the wheat, who's good and who's bad, we often get it wrong. We fail spectacularly. And our failures have ruined people's lives, good people's lives. And that's why in our readings today, Jesus makes it very clear, leave the judging of others to God. Because only God knows what's in a person's heart. And if you look at the readings, what you notice about God is how amazingly patient He is. In our first reading we hear, God does not unjustly condemn. He is lenient to all. He judges with clemency, always permitting the repentance of sins. God is merciful, lenient. In the gospel, we see the patience of God. He recognizes there are weeds with the wheat. So laborers say, well, let us go out and rip all those weeds out. Let's get rid of them. He says, no. Because you might rip out the wheat, the good with the bad. It's hard to tell sometimes, to distinguish between the two. And so God says, let's have patience. Let's wait to the very end. Then we'll judge. Because God is always giving us that opportunity for repentance, that opportunity to change our hearts, to have conversion, to turn back to Him. Because God knows sometimes the worst sinners can become the greatest saints. We see that so often in our church's history. People that have the roughest of beginnings can become the holiest of men and women. That's why God is patient and merciful. And that's what God is encouraging all of us to this morning. Be patient with one another. Be merciful with one another. Remember what Jesus teaches us. Love your enemies. Pray for those who hurt you. Pray for their conversion. Pray for the change of heart. And always keep examining your own heart as well. Turn to the Lord for His mercy, for His grace, to make those changes you and I need to make too. And today is a great reminder. Rise above the cancel culture and embrace the mercy of God, remembering that we're all sinners. We all make mistakes. But with God's grace, we can change. We can be better. And so let us practice today the patience of God and the mercy of God with one another.